A while back I reviewed Imagine Earth, a colony building and climate simulator that focuses on a futuristic team that you control as you battle the many obstacles of creating a thriving civilization. Imagine Earth is still getting updates, and most recently, indie developer Sirius Brothers released the Galaxies DLC, which takes the original Imagine Earth and dials it up to the next level. Hi folks, I'm the Dove and I love video games, especially indie developed titles, and today we're going to talk about Imagine Earth's DLC Galaxies. To be totally transparent, we here at Two Hats and a Beard received a review copy. But to be completely honest, this is the kind of DLC that I would have actually paid for. The reason being is that it's not another massive chunk of what you paid for the first time. The Galaxies DLC is running for around $3.99 US before any sales hit, and to me it feels near a 2.0 version of the game, but I'll get into that a little later. If you haven't played the base game or seen my previous video on Imagine Earth, the original is somewhere between Civilization and the old Sim Cities, but it takes things to a whole new level while keeping things simple where you want it to be simple. Imagine Earth actually began as a student project by Martin Wanschaff and Jens Isenzi. The game quickly gained attention and accolades, one of the first being a 2012 Intel Level Up Award for Best Simulation Demo. A couple years later, Sirius Brothers was founded by Martin and Jens, and subsequently Imagine Earth was released in early access. The title continued to receive positive buzz and more accolades. Eventually, the full game was released on PC and Xbox in 2021, and later the PlayStation and Switch in 2024. In the base game, you compete with the other teams or colonies on a planet as you colonize and grow and try to be the first team to the allotted population level. The first team to that requisite population amount wins. While developing your colony, you'll have to balance the very fine act of growing your colony among your competition while not offsetting the balance of the native planet's ecosystem. Even if a rivalry colony is burning coal constantly, you'll have to deal with the shrinking shores or increased natural disasters, so you'll always be on your toes. There are a number of different buildings, districts, and tools to build and help develop your colony, each with their own benefits and drawbacks, so you'll have to pay attention to the impact your build has on the planet. Overall, a great, challenging colony builder and climate simulator. Imagine Earth is honestly my go-to when I'm in the mood for a colony builder. Now, this DLC adds a more macro approach to the game, along with a number of other nice adjustments that just make it feel more like a Civilization space race. You compete against teams in the base game who are also trying to colonize the planets that you are, but with this more macro approach in the DLC, it just makes it more realistic. You have all the tie-ins of a space station that can facilitate to multiple colonies, and you have to deal with the politics from all your recurring opponents on the different planets throughout the galaxy. In the regard of expanding the base game, I honestly think that the interconnecting of colonies is enough to give it a whole new shine. Far too often in games like this, you just want to connect all your colonies or civilizations that you built, and you don't want to start all the way from scratch every single time. The Galaxies DLC allows you to do all that, and it feels more immersive. But there are a number of other aspects that Imagine Earth throws your way in this DLC. Like I said, one of the main draws for me about the Galaxies DLC is the interconnecting of your colonies. And with the addition of a spaceport in any one of those colonies, you can then trade resources free of charge between any of the colonies that are connected to your spaceport. Whether it's nostalgia or continued dominance, sometimes you want to go back to your first builds, and if you can use resources from them as you build on another planet, all the better. Along with the shared resources, connected cities can also add 3 extensions to their main city centers. These extensions can range from extra power to additional buildings or mining drones, which can honestly make a huge difference, especially at the beginning of a colony. And there are a good assortment of different extensions you can apply, so this really adds a whole nother layer to all the colonies you can connect. They also throw in a story campaign mode, which features at the start the Genesis Seed Initiative. Without spoiling too much of the opening salvo here, this will take you across the galaxy that's provided, and you'll have to battle out other companies to take over that galaxy to compete and run efforts after an initial pioneer phase. This pioneer phase will pit companies against each other on one planet as they compete on multiple fronts to take control. What I enjoyed about this pioneer phase, which you battle out for the galactic control, is it's way more complex than something like an old Civilization game where it's just one form of domination and that's it. In Imagine Earth, it's a number of different factors that come together, and the first team to score as many victory points as possible will take control. So you can't just lean on overall domination of the financial market or population or whatever it may be. You'll have to make sure you get the other victory points, which the Genesis Seed Initiative will help you figure out and find along the way. It makes these races feel a lot more realistic. Instead of just banking on military dominance or something like that, you'll have to now focus on keeping things very balanced. It makes these feel a lot more realistic, as I said. There's just so many intricacies of how to obtain victory. It forces you to create a very even and sustainable build, which honestly is the point of the entire game. When you're on the planet's building, you'll manage each individual colony along with the other companies in a governmental structure that votes on taxes, levies, and reparations every so often. You can also trade with these competitors along with starting up alliances or declaring them enemies. It makes each individual colony really matter, as you can't get too aggressive anywhere, as it could lead to some hostile actions across your many colonies. I just enjoy the fact that it adds another layer of depth to the overall great colony building game as is. For a long time, I've been waiting for an indie version of Civilization or SimCity, and I feel like this is a great version of both of those combined in a futuristic setting. You don't have to sit there and get bogged down by some of the more annoying details of some of those absolute classics, like building roads that erode constantly or connecting power lines to every single damn building across the continent. This gives you the macro idea of building areas with solar fields and building urban type areas or financial districts or parks. It keeps things simple while still having a lot of depth to it. And with the addition of the Galaxies DLC, I feel like it's the equivalent of a sports game adding a franchise mode. Now, instead of just individual situations and planets, you tie them together to get a much more complete feeling of a real galactic space race. I feel like this is the definitive way to play Imagine Earth now. Now, you definitely need to play the original game to get down the basics, but the Galaxies DLC just feels way more robust, and like I mentioned, probably the way you're gonna want to play the game from now on. One aspect that I respect this game and continually come back to it for is that it is a good, challenging title. Even the initial scenarios are some challenging ones to get through. If you just skip the original game, you're going to be left scratching your head and getting your clock cleaned constantly by the other teams on the planet. The basic game is challenging in and of itself, but when you add all the different avenues of victory and interconnected colonies that all have their own political landscapes, things can get complex and challenging real quick. It's an enjoyable, thought-provoking challenge that's likely going to take you at least an attempt or two to fully grasp all the different nuances of the Galaxies DLC and what it brings to Imagine Earth. If you've been looking for an indie colony builder, Imagine Earth is a title I cannot recommend enough. The futuristic spin and the realistic planetary reaction to human colonization sets this game apart from the pack as is, but the developers at Sirius Brothers go even further by making an already intricate colony builder into a deep, galactic colonizing simulator with an outstanding DLC. If you enjoyed the base game, you will definitely get a lot out of the Galaxies DLC. It will feel like a natural evolution and bring another level of challenge. If you haven't played the base game, I'd still recommend picking it up. The launch bundle on Steam at least virtually makes the DLC free, and as I mentioned, even without that bonus, it's still under $5 and adds a lot to the game. Check out Imagine Earth Galaxies DLC, available on PC, Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, and Switch. And from the bottom of our heart here at Two Hats and a Beard, thank you very much, Serious Brothers, for giving us an opportunity to review the Galaxies DLC. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider clicking the subscribe button now. We have more videos like this and have a weekly gamer news podcast called The Gamer Buff, with all the latest gaming news. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, this is the Dove.